Well, the Cyhawk Trophy is back where it belongs right here in Iowa City. We are going to be recapping the Iowa State game. We're talking to a very special guest who just got to Iowa not that long ago.
Bum, bum,
And,
bum.
okay, and we're going to be previewing Western Michigan. This is Talkin Hawks presented by Hillsbank.
No matter where you are in life, Hillsbank is here to help you succeed. Whether you're buying your first house, saving for your child's future, or preparing for retirement, you can count on the people at Hillsbank for the support you need to reach your goals. It's easy to connect with a banker in person, over the phone, or on hillsbank.com because we believe banking is better through human connection. Hillsbank is an equal housing lender and FDIC member.
Hi, Matt.
Hey,
How's your cold doing?
you know, it's the annual one.
Okay. All of the wives out there, you'll know what I'm saying
This
right
is not
now.
a man cold. I'm
No,
not going down
Hold
that.
on. And then all of the husbands and men, just close your ears and don't at me in the comment section. When your husband has a cold, it is the most irritating thing that has ever happened in the history of the world.
I mean, that's a fact, but it's not like
No,
a
it's-
man cold, like I'm not doing anything. I
No,
still
you're just
took care of it.
complaining about it
I
every
didn't
2
complain
seconds.
about anything.
No, you woke up this morning and you go, do you have a lot of mucus too? Like, ew. First of all,
I
and
wanted
second,
to know if you were experiencing the same symptoms or if
but you
I
didn't have
was.
to ask me that while I'm eating breakfast. Like, and you just have to like bring it up every 2 seconds. Like, oh,
It
when we go
hasn't
to the
been-
podcast
I
tonight,
brought it up since we got here.
I got to make sure I do some push-ups to get the blood flowing. Can we stop? Like,
Hold on.
just when men get sick, they
Hold on.
just can't.
Matthew and James, have I talked about it? They're both nodding their head no. Thank you.
You just asked for a tissue 2 seconds ago. But okay. Anyway, Matt's got a cold, so bear with him on all of the things.
Don't worry, I'm gonna push forward, just like the Hawks.
All right. You got it. I mentioned this when we opened up here a little bit ago that the Cyhawk Trophy is back where it belongs.
Mhm.
And we got another win in Ames in convincing fashion. What do you think of the game, Matt?
Well, last time Iowa State won in Ames against Iowa was 2011.
That's unbelievable.
12 years.
I was still in high school then.
Same.
Mm-hmm.
Same. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I thought the game, kind of ebbed and flowed. We got up big and then they kind of worked their way back a little bit. Closed out the game, let defense win it, and we'll talk about that. But overall, I mean, obviously, anytime you pick up a trophy, anytime you win, it's a good win. We talked about before against Utah State, it's good to learn in a win versus learning in a loss. So there's still a lot to correct on the tape, but some good things too.
200 wins for Kirk Ferentz. Unbelievable. We talked to our guest, Erick All, a lot about Coach Ferentz and just how much that meant to him, even though he just got here, how much like respect he has for him. And I think that spans across all of the, the players that have played for him in the 20, how many years? I should have this on lock, but is it 23 years?
Yeah,
That sound right?
so 99 was his first season,
Yeah.
and then that was at Iowa, though. So
Yeah.
he's got 12 wins from the University of Maine when he was a head coach, I believe from 1990 to 1992.
Okay.
I believe that's that stat. But then 188 now at the University of Iowa.
All right. Just unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you loved playing for him. And like I said, talking to Eric, he's got the same feelings. And it's pretty cool to see so many players. Like since, I mean, so my brother-in-law also played for the Hawks back in 2002. And so it's like seeing guys from even back then that are like, yeah, no, I feel the exact same way that you do. And so many people have so much respect for him coming out once they graduate. So pretty cool. Congratulations to head coach Kirk Ferentz on his 200th win. And what better way to do it than at Ames? Have you seen the, so I actually retweeted it and I was like, it's giving Clint Eastwood, where he's like standing, it's right before they come out on the field, just this past Saturday. And he's standing there like in front of the swarm. The sirens are going off and he's standing like he's got his hands on his hips and he's got the scowl, the KF scowl. And he kind of is like looking around and he like spits on the field, like just
no
no
love
care. He's got gum in his mouth. What's the kind of gum? Is
it.
it
I believe it's double bubble, but
double
I
bubble?
could be wrong.
So funny. But anyway, yeah, it's so fun. And he literally looks like Clint Eastwood in like Gran Torino or
I
something.
got to go look at it now.
Unbelievable. I retweeted it. You can check it out.
Okay.
So let's talk about the game, the pass game. I know this is one of your favorite things to talk about. What do you got?
Yeah, so Seth Anderson continues to just impress. Like he made a wow catch. That's what my old position coach, BK, used to say. Where he climbed the ladder. So he just jumped really high. the ball was over his head and he was able to extend back and make the catch. I mean, those kinds of things are going to get you more reps. He also beat a guy on a deep ball. Cade McNamara, it kind of seemed like his follow through was stopped. Like, I don't know if a D lineman hit it or if he pulled up because he didn't want to hit the helmet of a D lineman. But had a deep ball that potentially could have been another touchdown. It just seems like he finds ways to beat his defender. Like, I don't know how else to say it. And we're going to face some of that. We'll talk about it when we talk about Western Michigan. But for a guy that's undersized to play that quote unquote X position, which is the boundary guy. So he's going to face a lot more press. Usually the stronger DB plays there because they want to get in your face. And for a thinner guy to be on that side is not too often. So he just continues to do things, at least optically from now, for now, make plays.
Mm-hmm.
Do things right.
Pretty much the entire game, you were like, man, that play, maybe Jazz Patterson's going to be our unsung hero. And you're like, oh, man, maybe that play is going to be our unsung hero. Like, he just made that play happen. Tell me about him. Like, you just could not stop talking about him the entire game, which makes me think that he's not an unsung hero. He's just a hero, right?
I was just saying now I feel like he's just a hero. But he went from, I think he had 1, maybe 3 carries last week. Like, he didn't get a ton of work. He came in sparingly. It was mainly LaShawn Williams in the first half. Caleb Johnson had 19 carries against Utah State. Fast forward a week, Jazz Patterson looked like he was in on almost every third down because his blitz pickup has been incredible. In fact, the announcers were talking about it, which, he took out 2 guys on a blitz pickup. Kind of looked like he lunged at one and his legs happened to clip the other one. But he got 2 guys on blitz pickup, and then I think we ended up hitting, it might have been Erick that we hit on a first down. It was like 3rd and 2 or something like that, play action. And he took out 2 guys to make that happen. There's another blitz pickup where he bowed up. Like, he's obviously doing things right, and it showed in the pitch count that he was given. And he also had 10 carries. He had 89 yards. He was a leading rusher. And even if you take out, I think he had he had 86 or 89 yards. He had a 59-yarder. Even if you take that out, he was still the leading rusher in terms of yards per carry. He still had over 3 yards a carry. Like, the guy is doing things right, and I believe he's a redshirt freshman. So he's doing a lot of things to get him on the field, and like, blitz pickup isn't a glorious job, but when you get to carry it and he's the only one that had a rushing touchdown, like, it's pretty cool.
So let's hop to the defensive side of the ball. Cooper and Deshaun Lee were the 2 leading tacklers. Does that sound bad?
Well,
the 2 leading tacklers?
Yeah. So
I feel like I said that so wrong. My job is in sports, I promise. But for some reason, the jargon sometimes comes out so like discombobulated. So that might have been cringy for some people. Go ahead, Matt.
I'm going to let it get it out of the system because I don't want that to filter into what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
But Jay Higgins had 16 tackles a week ago. And like I said, that's what we expect with our D-line, kind of absorbing blocks and allowing Jay Higgins to go do what he does. This week, they tried to really attack the side to side. They thought that their speed was going to be able to get out there and do quick passes and things like that. You never really want to see a DB lead your team, let alone 2 DBs. That means they were picking on Deshaun Lee. And they were trying to pick on Cooper, which every time that Cooper made a play, we would say Cooper, and then our 2-year-old son Dax would yell "Coop" in the background. So that was kind of cool.
Teaching all the good things.
And only the main things.
Yeah.
But so you don't typically want to see that. The only other reason would be that they were behind and they're throwing a lot, and so your DBs just have to make plays that way. But Nick Jackson also, I think, had 9 tackles or something like that. I think Cooper had 10. Deshaun had 9. I think Nick also had 9. But they thought that their team speed was going to be able to get around. And our linemen actually had quite a few tackles. In fact, our D lineman had the game sealing tackle. We slanted the correct way. And by slant, I mean that our D line on the snap, they were all going a certain direction. And we happened to go the right direction because the tackle couldn't get our D end. And so our guy went in, made the play. Mm-hmm. But so our D line actually had a few tackles, which isn't customary, which is probably why the pressure was taken off our linebackers.
Cool. And then let's talk about the end of the game. I think some people were a little confused or surprised by the tactic there.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's out of Iowa's wheelhouse. So essentially, we got the ball back. I want to say it's like 3 minutes, maybe something like that, 2:58 on the clock. And we run the ball 3 times. And essentially what Iowa's trying to do is make Iowa State use their timeouts. And so when they get the ball, they have to be in a hurry-up situation. And most teams There are some teams that click to it, like Kent State that we saw 2 years ago when we actually did this podcast. They try to get as many plays as possible, so they're used to going fast pace. But most teams in a 2-minute situation aren't used to that kind of tempo. And so you expect missed assignments or guys getting tired quicker, like things like that. And so we made them use their timeouts, used our punter, pinned them deep, and then saying, okay, if you want to win the game, you got to go 70 yards against our defense. And that's essentially what they thought. There are different ways to go about it, potentially getting a first down and trying to have your offense win the game. But in this situation, Iowa trusted its defense and its punting more.
Okay, so now let's get into the Unsung Hero, which is brought to you by JB Roofing. And who do you got this week? Last week, like I said, it was Jazz. And this week, I think it's going to be a little surprising for some people on what this one will be, because I was like, really? But now when you explain it, it makes sense. So here we go. What do you got?
I mean, it could be Jazz Patterson every week with his blitz pickup. But I'm going to go with Nico, and strictly for like a savvy veteran move. There's 2 plays that were pretty indicative of how differently they can happen. And one was done by Nico and the other was done by Deontay Vines. So it was 3rd down. I want to say it was like 3rd and 6. We're driving, and Cade throws a deep ball to, I think it was a corner route or an out to Nico, throws it behind him. So there's a couple different things that Nico can do. He can either go straight up or he can keep running and fade and try and reach behind him, because it's hard when you're running full speed to jump straight up. But what he did was Nico stopped his momentum and jumped and went for the ball. The reason that that's so important is because the DB is still carrying momentum. So because Nico beat him out of the break and he's jumping back to the ball, he has a right to catch the ball. If the DB hits him, that's how you get pass interference. Now, there's speculation on the other one, the one that was picked off. Should there or shouldn't there have been? I'm not going to discuss that one. But the fact that Nico jumped back to the ball and the DB's momentum carried him into Nico, we got a pass interference call, and that ended up leading to the Jazz Patterson touchdown. So it's almost like they were meant to be in this segment. But just that little like savvy veteran move of like, I'm not going to catch this ball, but if I at least give an attempt, I can probably get a pass interference call. And I'm going to relay that back to Deontay Vines, who hasn't played for 9 years like Nico has. But
okay, relax.
I know, we're going to have him on the show, so I get to give him crap in person. But Nico is in his 6th year here at Iowa. And Deontay, I believe, is in either his 2nd or 3rd. I'm not entirely sure. I apologize. I should probably have that off the top of my head. But he's running. It's just a go route. And I think Kate actually mentioned it at the end of the game and said that he owes him dinner because it should have been a touchdown. But Deontay was running full speed and jumped, and his momentum carried him further away. And so although the Iowa State guy hit him, he didn't go straight up. So if Deontay stops his momentum as best he can and jumps back up to get the ball, because he beat the DB would hit him and you'd get another pass interference call. But when you fade away from the ball, both of your momentum carries you and you're less likely to get it. So in this case, Nico went straight up, DB hit him, and that's how we got that pass interference call, which eventually led to a touchdown. So Nico Reganey, Unsung Hero, brought to you by JB Roofing.
Very good. All right, we're going to get into our discussion with Erick All, and we will be right back. Need a new roof, gutter, or siding in Eastern Iowa? Call JB Roofing, the local and reliable roofer with over 20 years of experience. They do one roof at a time, unlike others who juggle multiple projects and cut corners. They also serve a 45-mile radius around Kelowna and help you with any insurance claims. Don't wait. Call 319-656-ROOF or visit their website, jbroofingkelowna.com, for a free estimate. JB Roofing, the small town roofer you can trust. Hey, Matt, did you know that Iowa City Tire does more than just tires?
Yeah. I mean, they've been servicing the corridor for like 40 years.
Okay, but did you know that until somebody had to tell you?
No, I didn't.
Well, hey, check out how they're doing things in a very different way at Iowa City Tire and Service, where service actually comes first. Visit ictire.com. Okay, we are into week 3, got the big win over Iowa State, and now it is time for a big-time guest. Everyone, please welcome to the podcast, Erick All. How's it going?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing good. Hey, I'm doing great after that big win
Yeah.
just a couple days ago.
It was fun.
Yeah?
I had a good time.
Okay, well, let's talk about that. How was the atmosphere? Tell me about that.
That's one of my favorite atmospheres playing over there, by the
Yeah.
way.
It was
Top five.
fun. It was fun. They weren't too like disrespectful. I was expecting for them to be spitting at us, throwing stuff at us, but it was a great time. They were real loud, and it's always just the best feeling just playing away and just having everybody hate you. I love it.
Hey,
I really do.
I mean, they're still Iowa nice. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say too many good things about Iowa State, but I mean, we're still Iowa nice. We're not going to like throw things and whatnot.
Yeah.
But usually you walk into like FU because you go right by their student section and you just look up knowing that you're about to shut everybody up. Like,
Yeah.
that's the best part.
They were when we would walk by, they were just talking crazy about Cade. They were just, Cade, you suck.
Sure.
They were
Dumb stuff.
Yeah, they were all focused on Cade. So
You didn't even get any of it?
I ain't getting any. Bless him.
That's not even really getting inducted into the Cyhawk then, man.
Yeah, no.
Give it time. Give it time.
Give it time.
Yeah. Well, good. Okay. How was the grass? Matt always talks about their grass. Was it nice?
It's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was like you can run any route. You don't have to worry about nothing.
And see, I'm not making this up.
Yeah, it really is.
I think it helps that we get them early in the year because like the grass is like still fresh. It's not like week
true.
10, week 11, but yeah, that's like prime grass over there.
Yeah, it was kind of hard though. Like when you're like in your 3-point stands, you're used to like.
See, I don't know about that.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't know. But like you like, it's different. Like when you're in turf, like you can like use the ground to like push off. Like
Okay.
when you're in your 3-point stands, but
Like kind of grab the ground and go.
Yeah, kind of like if I had to take a step right or a step left or get out, like you can like use the ground to push off and stuff. So it's like a little. I use it. I don't know if everybody else does it, but
Interesting.
I couldn't do it there. It was just like it felt like a hard floor. So
So how was it after you guys got the win? Like what was the atmosphere like? You went over to the Iowa fans. I know you guys.
Well, they swarmed.
yeah.
Well, yeah,
I saw
swarmed to go
that.
get the trophy. Yeah.
Do we not always do that?
It wasn't a thing until 2015 was a hard fought game, and then we swarmed across their field like all the way across. Like it wasn't like layers of guys. Like we did one giant line of like all 73 of us or however many traveled, and then swarmed across to go get the trophy. And like that's when it started. Because usually it was like an all out brawl. You just get there and first one got there, raise it up. But yeah, 2015 I think we started it, and I think it's been that way ever since.
That's pretty cool.
But
I love this swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good experience coming out of Kinnick. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. Okay, so coming out of Kinnick into Kinnick the first time, what was that like? That first swarm for you?
I really didn't know like I kind of like forgot about that we did the swarm, but we practiced it and in practice or like the Friday or the Saturday before, and it's pretty cool. I love like the meaning behind it and everything. Like we're all in this together, and I love it. It's but like coming out of the tunnel like at the game, it's like kind of cool because usually like you're running out of the tunnel and you don't really get to like you can take it all in, but it like goes by fast. This is like you're just taking it all in and you're strolling and seeing all the fans and everybody cheering for you. It's a great time. I loved it.
Yeah, and Back in Black is playing.
Yeah.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then first touchdown in Kinnick during your first game.
Yeah.
What was that feeling
Wild.
like?
That was wild. That was wild. That was kind of scary though, because Cade really like we practiced that play, and every time I would get the ball on that play, the ball would like be right on me, like right when I like turned my head.
so you're saying he was trash on Saturday?
No, I'm just saying it was just different. It was a perfect
sorry,
throw.
I didn't mean to say that.
No, it was a perfect throw.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of up in the air, and it's like oh snaps, like I'm on the goal line. I was trying to like hurry up and get it, but
But I mean, that's a
Worked
lot of
out perfect.
trust. I mean, we're talking like 4th down, 2 transfers coming in. Like to call that means they must, believe in you quite a bit. Not only that, but I saw you played fullback, you played inline tight end, you split out as a receiver, which I know you went back and watched our other episodes before you came on the podcast. And I said, Erick All does it all. Like they really do utilize you and like all that stuff. And like, I think tight end mentally outside of quarterback has to be one of the toughest spots because you got to know the full pass concepts.
Yeah.
You got to know the run. Like receivers, I don't care about like where you guys are going. I just know I got to go get that bad guy right there, and that's it. But like you guys have to know all of it. So knowing that you play like I don't want to say 3 different positions, but kind of, is that much harder for you when you had to come in and learn a new offense?
yeah, I mean it was for me because it took me a minute to get to know Michigan's offense. And just coming here so fast, like just learning, like everything is so different. Like we have to know like the point, and the point system was different at Michigan than it is here. Like here, the O lineman is getting the point. At Michigan, they were telling us like that was who we had, the tight ends had.
Got you.
So now I have to like, when they point somebody, I have to know like one over from him. I have him,
Right.
but if he comes, I have to break hot while I'm reading the safeties to run
Yeah.
a different. So it's just like it's so difficult, but the more like reps you get at it, it's surprisingly like easy. But it's still like I get confused a lot with that.
Well,
But
you were in the other offense. How long were you in the other offense? 3 years? 2 years?
4
Michigan?
years. 4 years.
4
Well,
years.
3 years because I didn't play the last year, but 4 years.
Right, because you
Altogether.
had injury, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, really 4, because you were still in meetings. So, I mean, to play in an offense for 4 years and then have to switch for a 5th year, I mean, that's no easy task. I mean, I had the same coaching staff for 4 years, and then we changed. Brian's first year was my last year at Iowa. And so, like, we went from words were formations, words were protections, and then numbers were pass routes. And then we went to numbers, words, and like it's weird how everything kind of goes together. Obviously, I'm not going to give away too much, but like it's weird how all that stuff kind of comes together, and you can run the same concept, but it sounds very different.
Yeah. We at Michigan, we were just all words.
No numbers at all.
It was no. I mean no numbers. We had.
That's
yeah.
wild.
What, like you guys had routes for numbers? Like
Yeah, so it'd be
numbers
like
were-
381 hook curl. So like 381, you started with a single receiver, and then you would work away from him. So like let's say it was a 3 route, 8 route, 1 route, hook tuck to the A, and then A for us was running back, and then B was a utility guy, which I think for you guys it's F. But like we use B, and so he'd have the curl. So if we were on gun right jack, which is 3 by 1, 381 hook curl.
Yeah.
And like that's how we knew it.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
it's
us,
a
it
little
was-
bit different.
At Michigan, it was just flank or funnel.
Sure.
It was just like
one
just
word cover the play.
cover the play.
Interesting.
But here it's different. It's like
There's a lot more pieces that go
it's
into it.
it's words, but then the runs and everything is all numbers, and the pass pro is numbers, and
Right.
so it's different.
Yeah, on our last episode, I said that when Matt talks like that, it kind of just goes right over my head, and I kind of blank out for a second. So for all of you that are listening and you're like, same, we're going to move on to something a little easier.
That's fair.
Okay, so you're from Ohio. Yes.
Yeah,
okay,
Cincinnati.
so did Ohio State recruit you when you were coming out of college or no?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah?
They did. It was like a big like thing when I was in high school, like because they didn't end up offering me. So, but they were like, recruiting me real hard, and I kind of committed early on. So like my junior year I committed, but they wanted me to like post or send them videos of me working out, because with them it was my weight was an issue.
That you weren't big enough?
Yeah, they
Was it
didn't
thought?
think I was going to be big enough. And like the talk was me being a wide receiver in college and everything, but yeah, they wanted me to gain weight, and they wanted me to show them videos of me working out and eating and everything, and I wasn't doing that. so it was just I was doing my thing, and I kind of knew I was going to go to Michigan out of high school, just because I just didn't like Ohio State at all, because my family grew up Bama fans actually, and Ohio State beat Bama when they had Zeke, and
Oh,
he had
sure.
that big
Yeah,
run
yeah.
off the goal line all the way down the field, 100-some yard touchdown, and you would go to school and just hate every second of it, because everybody was Ohio State fans, and so, but yeah, it was really the fans is what just. I couldn't stand them, but I love them now,
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be fun
Right.
without them. So,
True.
but yeah, that was really the story with Ohio State. But it was like a big deal. Like I went to their camp, and like the big like question of that camp was if they were gonna offer me, and I balled out that camp. I was just cooking dudes.
As a tight end?
Yeah. Tight end, but I was like flexed out and stuff in the slot.
Okay, so
stuff
like you
that too.
again did it all.
Yeah, and then but yeah, it was fun though. In high school, just the recruiting process was wild. Very different from like the transfer portal. Very different.
How so?
Just like, cause teams don't know like what you can do like in college. Like they don't know, cause it's still like, yeah, you're in high school doing good, but like
Sure, it's based on
when
what
you
you
come play
what
with
they
the
think
big-
you can do.
yeah, exactly. So like when you come play with the big dogs, what can you really do? And that was like the big question mark coming out of college. But like now that like teams see that like you played in college and you have experience and stuff, like so that takes that question off the table. So teams are just, you know, just they would just call your phone and text you like your number, because I guess you just put your number in there on the form, and they just like
And that's
people
it.
just call away. And it was wild. Like in high school it was like kind of like dialed down, but in the transfer portal there it just,
No rules.
yeah, it was crazy.
Did Ohio State reach back out after that? After your time in Michigan?
They were probably the very first team to reach out.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
But,
incredible. Did you have some good games versus them? Rivalry games?
Yeah.
So they're like, we
yeah.
need this guy. That's funny.
I don't know. I don't know what they were. I don't know, but there was no way I was doing. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. But
So we were talking before that Cade was the main reason you got here. So what was he chirping in your ear about?
he was just, you know, just trying to. He was just selling me on like how great it was here, and I pretty much like had Iowa in mind like already, because, you know, when we played against Iowa at Michigan, like they were known, or we looked at them as a team that was like very disciplined, very tough,
Sure.
very, you know, disciplined. But like they just work hard, and they you know, it's just very great coach team. So I like when I decided I was going to go to the transfer portal, I was like was like my number one school that I was really looking forward to like visiting and checking out. But the Cade was just, he was telling me about the schedule, like how we do all practices in the morning and
Big
got the
time.
day off to like watch film and like get treatment and everything. And that's great. I love that, or I love that now too. So, but it sounded great, and you know, Coach Ferentz and Coach Brian Ferentz, and I got to meet Coach Hodge, and I just loved it. And when I came on the visit, you know, everyone was just extremely nice, and the players were just worked. It was probably the best practice I've ever seen when I came during the bowl week against Kentucky.
Okay.
Like, and it was like
Get after
they were getting out there, and they didn't even have shoulder pads on. They had the shell pads.
Yes.
And
they still doing 9 on. They still doing blocks.
everything.
Yes.
And Dunk, man, just watching Dunk in the blocks drill was just like, man, I gotta get in that drill. And it just sent chills down my body. And I was taking that visit like real serious, like. But like just watching that drill, like I just couldn't do nothing but like laugh and like and just like get into it, because man, like it's
different.
Yeah, guys are getting after it, and I love it. Like very like-minded people, like they just want to go out there, compete, win, and do whatever it takes.
Well, and you see guys like George, TJ, Noah, just to name some of the few. Obviously, Sam.
Yeah.
You play with Luke Lachey. Like
Yeah.
seeing a bunch of dudes that have, obviously Luke's playing with you now, but the other guys recently that have gone on to the NFL. That's got to like perk your interest even more.
Yeah, that too. I mean, yeah, like I was known for having great tight ends and using tight ends, and that was just like the cherry on top, But I just love it here. it's just crazy just being here and being a Hawkeye and playing in Kinnick and doing the swarm and all that. I love every bit of it. It's just what football is all about for me. I love it. It's a team sport.
So can we go back a little bit? So you're talking about the drill that you were watching during practice. So for people that don't know what the drill was, which I don't know what you were talking about, what's the drill that you were so enamored by?
So really, it's just there's 3 different, like I wouldn't say it's like the O-line,
It's like broken up.
Yeah, but it's broken up.
So it's not like all 5 guys going on against all, the front 7, which the front 7 is the 4D lineman, for those that don't know. The 4D lineman and then the 3 linebackers, which is the way that we typically play if the catch position becomes a linebacker. So we really run like a 4-2.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, it's broken up like tackle guard by themselves going up against, tackle guard and you, or a tight end, probably going up against 2D lineman and a linebacker.
Yeah.
Is that usually how it goes?
So it's like, I don't know, because it's weird because I think they don't switch it up, but it's like I don't really pay attention to nobody else but the guy I got, and it's really just the DN or the Sam. And
Right.
Coach, because me coming off my back injury, Coach is real like cautious with me and stuff. So when I first got the chance to do it, Coach wasn't even going to put me in on it, and he was just like,
Were you salty?
he was like, "You just watch." What'd you say?
Were you salty?
Oh yeah, I told him, I was like, "Coach," because he was like, "We're gonna have you watch." I was like, "Coach, I've been watching the drill the whole entire time. I know what to do on the drill. I'm good." And he let me do it, but he would only let me go to the Sam side, which is the linebacker played down as the DN, and on the other side is like the actual DN. So it's like the bigger guys like
Sure.
Craig and Herc and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have the Sam. Then it would be the D tackle or guard or whatever, and the 3 tech, and then
By 3 tech, you mean the 3 technique. We're not going to get into like super deep, but
Yeah.
I'm just going to.
I was trying to dumb it down, but I just noticed 3
No, you
tech.
good. You good.
But I think it's just us two, and
Okay.
and then we have a center,
Sure.
but he's
So you
just
go off
snapping the ball. So, and I would always at first it would mess me up a little because I just told Coach like I got it, Coach. But they never. Cause we usually say the cadence, and when we're like actually out there, and they just say "set go." So I like would stutter a little bit off the line, but
Sure.
Coach would be like, "Have a good first step, this and that," and I'm like, I know that, but like
Yeah.
the cadence is messing me up. Like you
Right.
can't say that because but
Oh yeah.
it's a great drill. But basically, the defense and the offense are forgetting everything about the actual game of football, and we're just running at each other and hitting each other because there's no running back or anything.
You're probably going for like 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, you're going for a while, so it's just like basically just physical and
Okay.
just head clashing.
Yo, it's like I know what I'm talking about. Sorry, I just yelled into the mic. But go ahead, tell him what I said when we first talked about Erick All on this podcast.
Oh, that you like
that he likes
collision.
contact,
Yeah,
and
contact.
that those guys are scary because they like contact.
Yeah, it's fun.
Man,
It's very fun. It's the best thing about football. Just hitting people, and you don't have to worry about any jail time or anything.
There's an NFL scout that will somehow see this somewhere that's like, yes,
That's
sir.
the
That's
Sign
what
him
we
up.
like to see. That's incredible. Okay, let's talk like personal life a little bit. You have a son.
Yeah.
I just saw that he turned 1 year old. What's his name?
Houston.
Houston. And you've got it tattooed
Yeah.
on your wrist.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh my gosh. And he's just like the cutest little thing I've ever seen.
Thank you. Yeah, he's ate up, spoiled.
Oh, I'm sure.
Spoiled.
That's incredible.
He's good though. He just took his first few steps.
Ah.
He's
good deal.
getting big too. It's crazy how time just flies by.
Oh, yeah.
I remember when I was like in middle school, just thinking about what my first kid would look like and how it's going to be a boy, which turned out to be true. But,
Yeah.
but it's just wild.
In middle school, you were meant to be a dad.
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're going to make me this is my kind of content. I'm like, tell me more. That's incredible. Yeah, sometimes we just like to chat back and forth about like home life a little bit when we start the podcast, and people are like, don't talk about that, just talk about football. I'm like, no, this is the good stuff. It's the important stuff. Is he going to come to Kinnick at all? I know.
Oh, yeah.
Has he come yet?
Not yet, but
Okay.
he will.
Very good. He's going to come to a game.
I was gonna say, is he gonna sit like? Is he gonna be able to sit on the bleachers for that long? I guess he's a year. He's just taking steps. He'll be all right.
He likes being held anyways. This man's spoiled.
okay.
He'll be good.
He's
Yeah.
be good.
You know what? Somebody get this little kid up into the press box. I'm not standing for him being in the stands. We're going to figure this out for you.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Incredible. Okay, so tipping point to come to Iowa. What was like when you knew exactly like this is where I'm supposed to be?
I think probably watching the blocks drill.
Really?
I was talking about
Okay.
like, oh man, it's just like the the roots of football, just contact, physical. Not only that, just meeting Coach Ferentz and Coach Hodge, and they were. I think they were. it was just, you could just tell, like, they just love football and they just want to win. And, like, that's all they care about. They don't care about the other nonsense, like the hype. Like, they didn't worry about.
No,
Yeah.
they're like anti-hype.
Yeah, that's all. They don't want it. Like, they just want to go out there and win. They don't care if the game is streamed on TV and have this many million people watching the game or not. They just want to go out there and play, or have just watch their guys win and be physical and, you know, play the game the right way.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing, like, you can ask for, is to go out there and just win.
Yeah, you got to be a part of Coach Ferentz's 200th win just a couple days ago, which
Yeah.
is great. I won't ask you to talk about your previous coach, but just like, what about Coach Ferentz was like, you know, just, I guess sometimes guys just seem to be enamored by him, right? As a coach, that he's like,
Stoic is a word that gets thrown around a lot because
Yeah.
like he doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low. Like you can tell when something gets to him because he'll cry just a little bit. Like, you know, he fights it hard, but like he'll tear up a little bit in front of us. But
what was your like impression of him when you were at Michigan, and then when you actually got to meet him? Like, what was that kind of like actually coming here?
When I was at Michigan, I was just like I don't know. It was I looked at him like as like a great guy, like, because he wasn't my coach, but like I was just like, man, he seems like a great guy, and I've always wanted to meet him. And I don't even think I told him this, but I always wanted to meet him, and he just seemed like a really great coach, and a guy that just loved the game. And you could tell that by like how his players talk about him and how, you know, he reacted. Like when at the game, I could see him on the sideline talking to his players and stuff. So it was just like, he seemed like a great guy. But when I got here and met him, I first met him in we had a visit set up, and we went and got pancakes and stuff, and I sat there and talked to him and Coach Hodge. They came to Michigan, and man, it was just like when we sat down and talked, I was just like, man, I kind of knew that's where I was going, but I wasn't trying to make a quick, rash decision. So I was just trying to be open-minded as possible, but I knew that's where I was going to go, or this here. And we're out in the field, and when we're in team meetings and everything, like, he's just like very just into it. You know, he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. First of all, I love that with anybody. You know, just be yourself.
you're always gonna have that notepad. You're gonna be taking notes.
Yeah, taking
He'll see
notes.
something from the other side of the field, write something down.
Yeah, I'm trying to answer the call. I keep getting carried away into it, but
It's all right. It's all good.
but how what I thought about, or how I think about him now, is just like, I love him to death, and I would, lay my body on the line and do whatever it takes to win for him and for my teammates, just because of how real he is and how much he wants it for us, wants us to go out there and be the best we can be. Not only that in for football, but like in real life, and he makes sure like we're going to class and we're having good grades and stuff like that. Like, it's just a role model.
Like, one of the main things that like I got from my time there is that he cares about you as a person. And then when that's like buttoned up, then we'll take care of you as a player.
Exactly.
Like, you're going to work to be as a player, but along with those things, like, it's more about you becoming a better person when you leave the University of Iowa versus when you showed up.
Yeah. And he pushes you. Like, I don't know about any other like head coaches at any other schools, but he's like real into it. Like, at practice, he's down there coaching. He's coaching your first step. He's coaching like if you drop a ball. We're not, like, I dropped the ball in practice the other day. It was a walkthrough. We're not full speed, but we're catching full speed.
Yes.
And I'm like, I just dropped the ball just clean, straight to me, perfect throw by Deke and Deacon Hill. And I don't know why I dropped it. I just dropped it. And we're catching full speed. I'm like,
Yeah, he sees everything.
Yeah.
Like, so, when you practice outside, there's the offensive field and the defensive field. I'm pretty sure he was watching something on the linebackers on the defensive field. And like, I had dropped the ball during practice, and he was like, "We don't drop on the outside, we catch."
Yeah.
Like, that's it. And I'm like, how did he even see that?
yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy that you said that, because just this past week, they had us catching kickoff returns, and we never like kick returns.
Like you're the up guy and like practicing if they
Yeah.
pitch it. Yeah.
And I've like that was my first time doing it, and we never usually do it. And they were using the jug machine, and practice is over, and we have our pads off, and we're on the defensive field, and I think he was talking to somebody over there on the field, in between the fields.
Sure.
And like he was more like so on the offensive field than he was on the defensive field, and we were like far on the other side, the opposite sideline, just catching balls or chatting and goofing around. Well, not goofing around, but we're like just chatting and stuff, just chilling. And everybody's gone but us, and there's still a few people leaving the fields and going in the facility. And I dropped one, and next thing you know, I hear from far away, "Catch the ball, Eric."
He sees everything.
I'm like, I didn't even know he was there. He's like all the way over there. I'm like, geez, this man sees everything.
Everything.
And I forget what coach we were with. But he was like, he sees everything. That's funny. It's true. It's really true.
Oh, incredible. Well, we got Western Michigan coming up. Yes, Western Michigan. I have Western Kentucky in my head because I did some research beforehand on something else. Anyway.
You didn't do research on Western Kentucky, right?
It was in the thing that I was doing the thing on.
All right. I guess
You'll
we'll hear
get
about
to
it
it
next
later.
segment.
Okay. Well, Western Michigan coming up. How are we feeling about that, getting back inside Kinnick Stadium?
I'm excited. I just can't wait to get back out there and play football. But so far on film, they look real big and real physical in the run game. But they, I'm excited just to get out and compete. And we got to treat every game like it's our last.
You only get 12 guaranteed opportunities.
Yeah.
Okay, I've said that all the time.
Yeah, and they look like. They look real good. They don't look bad at all so far, but I guess you gotta play every team like the Ohio States or the Penn States or the USCs or whatever, Alabamas. But it's fun. I love it. I can't wait to get out there.
Very good. Well, that's what we like to hear. Eric, I'm so glad that you decided to join us today. This was so great. And I'm going to tell you something. When you bring Houston to Kinnick, I will take him. Just bring him down to the sideline. I'll keep him safe.
I don't know how mobile she is, but
I'm fast.
we'll find somebody to hold you.
Yeah.
We got a helmet at home. Pop it on him. He'll be great.
I'm sure he would love it too. He would take it all in.
So good. Well, Eric, thank you so much. This was
Thank you
awesome.
guys for having me.
Yeah, best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
This season, Marquee Pizzeria is teaming up with Nico Reganey to help the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. Together, they've created a new signature pizza, the Nico Parm. Sounds so good. $2 of every pizza will be donated to the Children's Hospital. Visit Marquee Pizzeria, located in the Coralville River Landing, this fall and help the kids by eating pizza.
If you're not in the mood for pizza.
If you're not, I love Estella's because it is fresh. From the fresh grilled steak to the salsas to their fresh pressed tortillas.
I love Estella's because it's quick, you can get in and out, and it doesn't feel like fast food. It feels like fresh food quick.
Yeah, we both love Estella's because it is made with love. They put a lot of pride in their food and customer service, and they are locally owned. Plus, it was my biggest pregnancy craving. I will say that too. That's Estella's Fresh Mex. Fresh food made quick with love.
Locally owned and operated, Performance is a full-service restoration company serving eastern Iowa. As an IICRC certified firm, their multi-licensed technicians have decades of experience in water, mold, and fire mitigation. Whether it's your home or business, this is the team you want in a time of need. Performance Restoration, 319-626-2292.
So Eric, after we were done chatting with him, we were all like, he is a gentle giant, but like not so gentle because he loves contact, which he talked about a lot. But how great was he?
Yeah, he's a super nice guy. He's Iowa nice.
He was meant to be here. Seriously.
From the jump.
Yeah.
But very cool story, kind of going all over the place. Didn't get recruited by his hometown, but I also didn't want to. And then, because he's from Ohio, but he didn't want to be in Ohio State. It's kind of interesting dynamic there to go to the rival and then obviously making his way to tight end U, I think is probably the best move he could have made.
I wanted to ask him that. I forgot. Like, he does now, but did he consider it tight end U or did he have other thoughts?
Sure.
When I see him again, I'll have to ask him. All right, we are going to talk about Western Michigan now. Are you ready for that?
I can't wait. You were doing a lot of research. I'm excited to see what you came up with.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like to do this kind of stuff. It means nothing to anything, like at all, but it's just kind of like random knowledge that you can just have. And I like that. So they are the Broncos, the Western Michigan Broncos. If you can look up their mascot, or we can just on the YouTube, James and Matthew, if we can like put if you look up the Wikipedia picture of the Bronco mascot, he is the saddest looking mascot. It's so weird.
It's sad, but it's also like
he looks like he's tired.
Yeah.
His eyes are like
going
half
different ways. They're half shut.
I was dumbfounded. I was like, why does he look so sad? Anyway, you'll have to look it up or they're just going to throw it up on the screen. So they are the Broncos now. They used to be the Hilltoppers because the university is located on the top of Prospect Hill. Okay. But then in 1939, they changed to the Broncos because they wanted to avoid confusion because Western Kentucky was the Hilltoppers. Okay. And then in 2021, so not that long ago, they had a pretty big controversy about changing their logo and their school colors. And like alumni, fans, the whole Western Michigan community was not happy. Yeah, I was reading articles about it. It's a whole deal. So I see like where the because I don't know, I see where the fans and the alumni and everybody is coming from with this, right? Like if they just decided like, yeah, we are actually not going to use the Tiger Hawk that much anymore, we'd be like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
You'd be a little like sad about that, right?
I'd be a little hurt, yeah.
But then like take it for what it's worth with this, okay? So they're going to spend like over $500,000 for a new logo and color scheme. All right,
back in completely revamping.
Sort of, yeah. Back in 2021. So before they showed like this article I was reading, they showed all the different logos that they had. They had like 22-ish different logos for the university.
That they had been using or that they had been using?
That they had been using like across the university, academics and athletics.
Interesting.
And so they're like, we need to reel this in a little bit. We need to pull back because it was like the Western Michigan School of I don't know, let's just say agriculture. I don't know if they're a big agriculture school. I'm not sure. But just for an example, had its own sort of logo, had its own sort of W. And then the athletics had a different sort of W. And so it was just like kind of all over the place. So they wanted to reel it in a little bit.
Okay.
I get it.
Makes sense.
And they wanted to have like on the side, the thought of like the athletic director and the university president or whatever. They're like, we want to have more of a cohesive brand. So that's their view. Now, the other view is like, we are who we are. Let's leave it what it is. We don't want to change anything. So anyway, they had like 22 different logos. Now they're going to scale it back. They're just going to have 2. So they're going to have this W that's a gold W and a brown circle. And that's going to be their main logo. Well, people were really mad about that because they want their main logo to be the Bronco head, which looks a lot like the Bronco for like the Denver Broncos. Looks very similar.
Usually how that happens.
Looks very similar, but it used to face the left side, like its face went that way, and now it's going to face the right side, which is what the Broncos do. Just something random. But they also are changing the gold. So it was going to be this like, or it was this metallic like Vegas gold kind of thing, and they changed it to like, yeah, like a Hawkeye Steelers gold, and they switched it up.
That's a big change,
right? And so people weren't happy about that either. But in their defense, they were using 7 different brand colors. So they had gold, they had metallic gold, brown, wow, sorry guys, brown, black, silver, like they had a whole 7 different colors that they were using like in all of their branding. So it was just like there was a lot happening. And so they had all these people inside the athletic department and the university come together and just like scale back and streamline their marketing and branding. But in my mind, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. But then you think about all the things that you have to change, like the posters and the billboards and just all of the signage that happens everywhere. Think about every place that you see a Tiger Hawk and switching that. That's a lot of money. So people just weren't super stoked about where that money was going and that they were changing it. And it was kind of like you're trying to make fetch happen. It's never going to happen. All of my, what's that movie? Mean Girls. My Mean Girls out there. They were trying to like really make the W, this new W, like the main thing, like at athletics and stuff. And people just were not having it because they love the pride in being a Bronco. So there you have it.
So where does it stand now? Is it
That's
just
what
the
it is.
Bronco?
It's the two logos. It's the W, which is the main, and then it's the Bronco that's now facing the right that has like the different gold that people aren't super stoked about.
So you're giving us more reason to not like the Broncos when they come out because we're not going to like their gold.
Yeah, we're solidarity with the fans and alumni. We don't like the we don't like the new stuff.
Interesting.
Anyway, that was my little history lesson on Western Michigan and logo, mascot, all of the things.
I feel like most of the mascot stuff that you do is like tradition versus innovation.
Yeah, that always is kind of a sticking point for people, isn't it?
I think so.
Very good. Okay, tell me about Western Michigan. What are they? How are we gonna beat them in Kinnick? We're coming home.
So they're 1-1. They beat St. Francis of Pennsylvania. They're in the Northeastern Conference. That's
Understood.
all I'm going to say about that. Then they played Syracuse, which is in the ACC. Western Michigan scored on like an 80-yard run 30 seconds into the game. So 14 minutes, 30 seconds left in the first quarter, and they scored a touchdown. And they did not sniff the end zone or a field goal for the rest of the game.
Yikes.
By halftime, it was 45-7 Syracuse.
Yikes.
And then they pretty much pulled everybody going into the second half. So it's hard to get a gamut, it's hard to get a real gauge on exactly who they are when their twos are in, because I know even at the high school level, we don't run the same type of offense, when the twos are in. You try to run similar stuff, but, you're not going to quite do as much. So
Yeah.
we're going to see kind of what that looks like. And I know, so I coach at Solon. Appreciate you guys watching the podcast. So it's just interesting. But what Syracuse did a lot of was take shots deep. They were isolating their corners one-on-one and kind of making that the weakness of their game. So they did a lot of press. And by press coverage, what I mean is that the DB, so the guy across from our wide receiver, is within a yard or two, and he's ready to get hands on him, which in college you can kind of put your hands on him the whole time. I mean, I'd like to say that I was held probably every single time I ran a route, just because they're right there. So press, they get their hands on you. They're not allowed to technically hold you, but there are places that the ref can't see it. So they try to get in your face and get you, which is usually why it's the biggest DB or the strongest DB. And usually you combat that with your biggest, strongest receiver. But in our case, Seth Anderson is so quick that they really don't get their hands on him too much. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that looks. They also run a 3-3-5. Laura, if I say they run a 3-3-5 defense, what can you tell me?
Three
Of them are.
of them are on the line.
Okay. 1 for 1
Three of them
are.
are
Who's
off
behind?
the line? Okay, yeah, I don't know.
What are they called? If they're back behind, if they're backing the line, what do you think they're called?
Back line. Matt, I don't want to do this.
Yeah,
I hate
you're
when
so
you do
close.
leading
You're so
questions with me.
close.
No, I
You're
don't
so
want
close.
to do this.
You're so close.
This
Just
is how
flip
this-
the words.
No, this is linebackers.
Yeah.
This is how this goes literally every time, and I hate leading questions.
But you got it right. So you're 2 for 2. So 3 linemen, 3 linebackers, because they back the line, and then 5 defensive backs. And so that's a little bit different than what you're used to seeing, especially against a Big Ten school. Like Iowa, we're used to seeing a 4-3, except for Wisconsin, who runs a 3-4. But essentially, the first number when it comes to that is the defensive line. Second number is the linebackers. And then the number that you don't say is the rest of the skill guys, which in this case, you do say it. You're not going to just say that you run a 3-3. They make it a point to say 3-3-5. I don't know why everything else is 4-3 instead of 4-3-4 or 3-4-4. Just kind of the way that it works out. But they run a 3-3-5 defense, which means that they're going to bring another smaller guy down, which helps our run game because they have less big guys and we have more big guys. Like that's essentially how it works out. And they might make a few adjustments, than what they've faced previously. Syracuse wanted to sling it around, and so maybe that's why they went a little bit more heavy in 3-3-5 in that game. But I envision us giving a healthy dose of Jazz, Caleb Johnson, and LaShawn Williams, who didn't play a ton last game. I think it's kind of whoever's got the hot hand, and Jazz has had the hot hand, so I expect to see a lot more in number 9 as we move forward. But being able to see like Erick All, I think we saw Hayden Large made his debut against Iowa State, fullback, named after named after a player named after Hayden Fry, or named after a place named after Hayden Fry. There was like a middleman, but he's essentially named after Hayden Fry, so it's kind of fitting that he's at Iowa.
Okay.
But I envision us running the football, being Iowa, and then taking our chances. We weren't super efficient in the past game, like we had been in game 1. I think we were 12 of 23, something like that. So just under 50%, just over 125 yards. Like it wasn't breaking, but we did have 2 deep balls that we missed. So I mean, like there's improvement to be made. You know, that number could have been very skewed if we hit those 2 big plays and be over 200 yards and a couple tutties, you know. So I envision us to just do what we do when it comes on offense. Defensively, first game they had like 400 yards rushing, which again, it's St. Francis from Pennsylvania in the Northeastern Conference. Not that they don't play good football, but that they play different football than what I was going to play, is how I'm going to phrase that. And Syracuse, they got down way big, way early, so they had to sling it more than I think they wanted to. Eric talked about that they're big, so we got to be ready for that. But I expect another big game for Jay Higgins. If they want to run the ball, that's going to be our linebackers' dream. Again, defensive line clocking their guys up, and then linebackers making plays.
So back to the offensive thing. So do you think that going back to the Iowa State game, I noticed that we took a lot of timeouts when we were on offense. We didn't really discuss that, but with that being said, do you think that this game could potentially be a time for us to like really button things up and like get some momentum and some comfortability and some confidence on like throwing it down the field and everybody kind of being on the same page in that respect?
I think there's a lot to that. I think part of it was it's the first road experience for a lot of those guys in a Hawkeye uniform. It's a Cy-Hawk game, so it's going to be raucous. It's going to be all that kind of stuff. So, yes, we called 5 timeouts just on offense, and I think most of them were getting guys in the right spot or play clock was going down, like things like that. So, at home, you would expect that not to happen, because it's going to be a lot quieter. You're going to be able to hear the snap count and things. The hope is that the further you go along, the more reps you get. The more reps you get, the better you get. And not only that, but just practicing together. You know, I don't know how many times, and I'm not going to touch much on Coach Prime and what he's doing in Colorado, but the main story out of that has been, how do you get all these transfers to play together? Like that's been the main story, is getting all these guys on the same page so quickly. And really, Iowa's been able to do that for the most part. You know, we don't have as many. I think they had 57 or something, but we don't have as much of that. And most of them are on the same page. It's just like a ball's a little bit behind, or we're not being able to fall through because a D lineman's on us, like things like that. So I think there's going to be room for improvement, as with anything. But again, you'd rather learn from a win. And now going into Western Michigan, coming home, I think should help button a lot of those things up.
So wrapping all of that up, do you think that we will have our twos in by halftime?
Probably not. That's kind of the way that, and the reason I say that is mainly because that's not what Iowa does. Like even when I went back and there's a lot of stuff that got posted about me on Twitter because a lot of times I had my best game against Iowa State. And I'm looking at that and we're up 35-3, 42-3, and the ones are still in, because we want to make sure that our conditioning stays up. We don't want to really take a quote week off, from where we are in a conditioning standpoint. So it's just not something that Iowa typically does.
Okay, Matt, what I really meant was are we going to be up by so much at halftime that we could take our ones out?
I think it's certainly possible. Certainly possible. Defensively, special teams, they're always up there, right? It's a matter of getting everybody on the same page on offense to be able to hit some of those deep balls. We had 2 missed chances in Iowa State. You hit those, and it's 35-3, probably, or 34-3 going into the fourth quarter. That's absolutely attainable.
Very good. Well, I'm excited to see that, and I'm excited for the weather. We're not going to be sweating our butts off. 77, a little cloudy. That's what we like to see.
We'll have the AC on in the basement.
On a mid-September game, though, that's good stuff. Now, the only thing that I'm crossing my fingers for is that the video boards and the mics work correctly. We can do this. I know we can. I'm going to go a little bit early. We're going to do a more thorough sound check.
You're going to go earlier?
Yeah, I got to go a little earlier this week. Sorry. We're going to do a more thorough sound check around the field. Make sure everything is buttoned up for the game. We're going to be ready. I don't know what I'm wearing yet. We'll see. It's cold out.
You have 6 days to wait an hour before you leave.
it's the gold game. So I only have so many options.
Huh? Well,
We'll see.
yeah.
You got everybody laughing in here about
That's a
me
fact.
taking forever to get ready, but there's a lot on the line here.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I know. Okay, 77 and sunny. Going to get a big win over the Broncos with the gold W.
Ugh.
Solidarity with the Broncos and the hatred for the logo. Hey, we will see you guys next Monday after the Western Michigan game. You are not going to want to miss our next guest. Count on it.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.